This morning, Israel unleashing another wave of strikes on Lebanon's capital, Beirut, targeting Hezbollah, pummeling this city day after day in this regional war. We've been seeing thick columns of smoke rising up from these airstrikes. You see it there in the middle. Already, some 700,000 have fled since the start of this conflict, according to the United Nations. This as the country is still recovering from the last war between Israel and Hezbollah. And pressure is mounting on Lebanon's new government, formed just last year, to bring an end to the fighting. Joining us from Beirut is Associated Press reporter Kareem Chahaiba. Kareem, tell us about these latest strikes and the humanitarian crisis growing there.
So there was another strike in central Beirut at dawn today. There was an apartment building in the central Beirut neighborhood of Aisha Bakar, which was struck. At least 4 people were wounded, and we're not immediately sure who was struck. There's been no word from the Israeli military yet. We went on the scene and checked it out. There was debris falling everywhere, and this was the second attack in the heart of the capital, far away from the Beirut southern suburbs in southern Lebanon, where much of the strikes have taken place. And it's brought about a lot of fear, to residents who at one point felt that they would be spared from the strikes. And, these strikes often come without warning. So there's a lot of panic that this conflict would last for a long time, and there's not a lot of places to go. The humanitarian aspect of this conflict is definitely worsening. There's over 700,000 people have been displaced so far. And just about 100,000, or a little bit more than that, are in government shelters, which are public schools and some other structures that they're trying to put together. But if you don't have the money to kind of rent out an apartment, if you don't have friends and family to stay with, I've been speaking to people who have been staying on the streets or sleeping in their car. So it has been a mess. And of course, as you said earlier, the strikes over the southern suburbs of Beirut continue on a daily basis.
Kareem, does this growing humanitarian crisis pose a risk to support for Hezbollah within Lebanon?
So, frankly, from people I've spoken to, the consequences of the war already have brought about a lot of frustrations with Hezbollah, including people who still sympathize with them. Particularly from the Shiite Muslim community, who for years have been loyal to them. They figured that this is basically dragging Lebanon into a war which is not their own, talking about Iran's war with the United States and Israel. That being said, they are still very frustrated with Israel's strikes over Lebanon that have, destroyed a lot of homes and villages and so on, and the mass evacuations across large swaths of the country. And so for them, they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Hezbollah for decades has been a very divisive entity in Lebanon, because not only are they an armed militant group, but they also have a political wing. They have MPs in parliament, ministers in cabinet, and so on. So it's obviously hard to speculate the impact of that. But a large segment of the country is sort of fed up of being dragged into wars time and time again. For years, the country has been reeling from a crippling economic crisis, and Lebanon ultimately is a small fish in a big pond in the Middle East. And they don't have the capacity to rebuild the country as much as others can. So they're certainly concerned that this kind of security crisis, the humanitarian impact, will last for a very long time, and they want something different for sure. Now, what that translates into opposition to Hezbollah from their own constituency is unclear.
Kareem Chahaiba, thank you for that reporting from Beirut.